I'm Jasmine Buttolph, and I'm the Director of Global Health at Panagora Group. Being a global health professional in a pandemic is a dream, and it's a nightmare. It's all of your professional interests piqued and all of your personal fears epitomized. In the early days of the pandemic, as I frantically searched for information for myself and my family, friends, and colleagues around the world, I realized how fragile our evidence generation supply chain is. So what did I do? I conducted informal studies. It was very scientific. While walking my dog around the block, I counted the number of people on the street in my neighborhood. How many people were out? How many people were wearing masks? It went from 1 in 10 to 5 in 10 to 9 in 10 within a matter of months. So maybe it wasn't very scientific, but it served me and my personal comfort. I used that information to determine how to prepare myself emotionally and physically when I left my house. Do I need to bring wipes? How much sanitizer should I put in my purse? Should I bring an extra mask just in case, or will there be some there? We all know there is no point to collecting data if you're not going to act in an evidence-informed way. I also realize how important it is for us as members of the international development community to really embrace data stewardship by creating the space to elevate learning and to act in evidence-based ways. How do you do this, and how do you deliver if you don't have the evidence to be informed? You promote responsible evidence generation, and you create the space to learn from the evidence and promote its use. This is foundational for us in international development. So, my call to action for all of us in the development community is that we all participate in a culture of responsible data collection and consumption, and that we support and demand methodological excellence. Something a little bit more scientific than one of us walking around the block counting things. Honestly, we also need to participate in data collection when asked, oh, are you doing a survey on people's behaviors during the pandemic so you can determine how many tests to make available and where? Sure. I would love to fill that out. Oh, do you need participants of a certain age for your vaccine trial? Of course. If I'm eligible, I would be delighted to participate. So what does promoting data stewardship, learning, and responsible action look like? At Panagora, we have invested in people, in resources, in conversations, and a culture of responsible data consumption. Our South Africa program redesigned its data collection methods from being in person at health facilities to being virtual. It took a lot of advocacy, a lot of training, and frankly a lot of change management, but it allowed us to continue to deliver important services, which ended up being more efficient and allowed for decisions to continue to be made. Our global health supply chain program quickly visualizes complex data to respond to the dynamic needs of ministers of health around the world, allowing them to allocate resources in response to the data. In the Philippines, we convened communities of practice to elevate the evidence and promote responsible data consumption, resulting in evidence-informed actions. In Panagora, we are promoting the virtual agora, and our mantra is to act on the evidence in responsible ways. Hopefully, by doing so, we can move the development needle forward and see real change in our lifetimes. COVID is a relatable example for this call to action, but the call extends across the international development landscape. We know there is evidence that shows that we have failed the rural woman in international development. Our progress towards the SDGs show where we have a lot of work to do and where we've been successful. We know that data don't turn into action alone. Acting in an evidence-based way is the job of every one of us as international development professionals. It's great when there's evidence, but the fact is sometimes we don't have the information we need to make decisions, and sometimes the data don't answer the questions we have. So what do? As stewards of data, learning, and action, we all have our part to play in making sure that we have access to good information and that we know what to do with it. In international development, we can bring everyone together to get the data out of the lonely database. We can pull it forward to learn from it and make it accessible. During this pandemic, we have all seen the benefits of using information wisely, and we've seen the deadly consequences of not promoting learning and action from the data. So let's do our part to participate in the data lifecycle and give evidence a prominent seat at the table. Thank you.